Hey guys, Mark here with another video. Today's something a little bit different. I'm going to go through the preset that I use on my Line 6 HX Stomp. I use this tone in most of my videos. It's maybe changed a little bit over the past year or so, but it's the same kind of basic idea of what I'm going for. And I also use this tone live as well, so it's not just for the videos. This actually works really live well for me. Don't forget, if you like the type of stuff I am creating, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions or like to tell me anything, just leave a comment down below. Let's get stuck in. I'm within HX Edit right now, which is the software that you use to edit your presets for the Line 6 products. We'll start right at the top of the chain here, or the start of the chain. I do use a noise gate, just because in the effects loop I run a couple of distortion pedals, and sometimes it just gets a wee bit noisy, and I kind of want it to be kind of quiet enough when I'm not playing. I run it at minus 50 dB. If you're playing maybe more ambient stuff where you need the notes to sustain for a lot longer, this might be too kind of heavy, so you might need to drop that back. So you can play around with that for whatever you need. Straight onto the amp then as well. Being a country player, we all like to use well, not we all, I do. I like the sound of a Fender Deluxe Reverb. So this is Line 6 model of, or their recreation of the Deluxe Reverb. Here are the settings I'm currently using. So they do change from time to time. Sometimes I feel it's a little bit bright. Sometimes I think it's not really bright enough. So normally what I work with is the treble and presence. Depending on the guitar, like I use a Telecaster with custom made pickups here in Northern Ireland. So you might need to adjust this depending on your guitar. I don't use the stock cab, I use a outboard IR. So this IR here is the Ownhammer, or one of the Ownhammer Deluxe Reverb IRs. This is the little summary of what it is based on. So the cabinet is based on a Deluxe cab 1x12 open back combo. So it's a 12-inch 8-ohm ceramic Fender CTS speaker made in 1978. You can really tell it's from 1978, can't you? Don't know. It sounds pretty good to me anyway. So basically when you buy the pack, you get so many things, and they all have like different kind of EQ settings, depending where they've placed the mic and stuff like that there. They actually have put a load of work into these IRs, and I can't recommend them enough. The stock IRs are okay. You can get some decent sounds, but I'm fully in the belief that the IR, like separate IRs, are 10 times better than the stock cabs. But that's just my opinion. You may have your own. So the one that I'm using right now is the OH112 Deluxe Reverb CTS C12L57A. 57 stands for using the Shure SM57. Cap M. Now I believe this one is the cap, or the M minus. If we skip back to the kind of summary of what all these mean, mid cut, M minus. So I kind of try and base my sound around Brent Mason's as much as I can. I just really love that sound. It's not really anything like it, but his sound is never really that mid forward. It always sounds as if it's slightly scooped. So when I chose this IR, I went for the M minus, and I think it sounds pretty good. So this removes some mid range and subtle low end, similar to slightly raising the presence and depth on a tube amp. I'll skip back to the effects loop right now. What I have running in the effects loop is an RC booster, which is currently on. Hopefully you can see a picture of it right now with all my settings on it. I use this to just add the slightest little bit of grit to the sound. I much prefer the grit that I get from this pedal than I do to the grit I get when I add it on the amp itself. So like the drive, I've got 3.7, which is fairly clean. Here it is without the RC booster engaged. Here it is with the RC booster engaged. So it's pretty subtle. It doesn't add too much at all, but it just gives it that little bit of hair, which I really like. Also in the effects loop, I'm running a dual fusion, which is from Wampler pedals, and I've got an EP booster as well. Here is the left channel of the dual fusion engaged. This is kind of for my more rocky tones. Generally in the gigs I play, there's not too much opportunity to kick on distortion and do a big kind of screaming lead solo, but this is more of a kind of rhythm kind of sound. And then I do have the right channel set to more of a lead tone if I did need a kind of distorted lead sound, which I do sometimes. Here it is. I think this pedal works really well in a country context. I know it's maybe not used that often for this. Like some people might opt to go for the Paisley Deluxe or the hot wired pedal from Wampler. But I think this does a great job, and I think it's maybe a wee bit more versatile. I've only had a short time playing the Paisley drive. I only ever had a short time messing about with it, but I actually had the hot wired at one point, and as much as I loved it, like the left side particularly was like an amazing lead tone. But this pedal, I think for me, covers more ground. In the very front of the pedal, actually after my tuner, so I use an outboard tuner as well, which is the Polytune 2. I have the Wampler Ego compressor as well. So that's not running in the effects loop, that's actually running straight into the input of the HX Stomp. Here it is with the compressor off. Here it is with the compressor on. So I've got the blend knob set to about 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I don't really want it super squishy. Sometimes I do. If I'm going for that Vince Gill type tone, I will turn the blend knob the whole way up because his tone's super squishy. But I kind of like to let some of the natural sound come through as well. So I have the simple delay, which is the next block in the chain, set to a really quick slap back, so 1/16 milliseconds. Again, this changes a lot as well. Sometimes I'm feeling maybe a slightly longer delay, sometimes I'm maybe feeling a slightly short delay, but I quite like this one at the minute. Maybe actually just turn the reverb off, so you can actually hear just the delay on its own. So the feedback's not exactly very low either. There's actually a few kind of little delays coming after that. It's quite hard to hear, they're very low, but you can kind of hear it there. with the reverb back on. So Brent Mason, a lot of the time, doesn't actually use a slap back delay. It's usually just a bit of reverb at times. Sometimes it's very dry, especially on the older Alan Jackson stuff. The guitar sound can actually be quite dry. But I think live playing, for me, I like that little bit of reverb and delay. It fills it out a wee bit, I think, anyway. The reverb I'm actually using is one of the more recent additions to the reverbs. It's the Hot Springs. Let's just listen to that without the delay for a second. So it's not super long. I think it kind of fills out the sound a wee bit. It's just very dry without it. I'll switch it off here for a second. And here it is back on. Yeah, it just fills it out a wee bit. Put the delay back on. So that's the basis of my setup here. I've got a couple of snapshots as well. So I'll go to Snapshot 2. So Snapshot 2 really alters the amp settings. I do use this for a kind of, not a lead sound, but I've got a solo break that I just want a bit more hair on than just with the RC booster. I'll kick this on. So the drive's bumped up to 4.4 and the mid and treble and presence settings and the master and channel volume are all a little different here. So they're all bumped up a little bit. Let's skip back to Snapshot 1. So the channel volume I've brought down actually for this one, and the master up. I think it's just because I increased the drive, and not only do you increase the drive, the volume kind of bumps up as well. So if you've ever kind of owned Deluxe Reverb in real life, you'll know that once you kind of get past 3, the volume just kind of goes from nothing to 10 really quickly. So I had to bring down the channel volume on this just to kind of compensate, because I don't want too much of a jump when I actually kick this on. Here's this. So it's pretty much the same tone, except just with a bit dirtier. Snapshot 3 kind of goes back to the first snapshot, but what really changes here is the delay time and the reverb time. And I think at the end, yeah, I've got a 2 dB boost as well compared to, yeah, it's pretty much flat on the first snapshot. So a 2 dB boost here, and the simple delay, slightly longer this time. Let's switch off the reverb first. So that might seem a bit excessive right now, but in a live context, that really fills it out. And then with the reverb, I actually have set this a lot longer compared to the first couple of snapshots, 3.6 seconds this time. So, and a mix of 34%. So that this will sound really excessive, but in a live context, it sounds great. Yeah, so you can really hear the drip off the springs in this one. That's a more recent edition. I was using a room reverb for a long time in this snapshot. So guys, that's really it. I haven't really got much more to say on this. I know I've kind of flown through everything fairly quickly, but if you do have any questions on anything else in this setup, please do leave a comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel as well. Okay guys, catch you in the next one.